It's the end of October and we've made our way back to Spain to our house here in this small town. I've started my journey this time by starting to unblock this entryway. I blocked this when we left so people wouldn't be walking around up in here and potentially some kids fall or something get hurt. Blocked it with a bunch of rocks. I've actually started moving them all back here. As you can see, if you watch the old videos, there's quite a difference right here. The neighbors actually bought this small ruin and this small area that was actually heavily overgrown with trees and such. They bought that and started clearing it out. So that's pretty neat. So here's my rocks I've been piling up over here. I've got quite a bit. We're hoping to reuse those to rebuild that small ruin that I'm working in now to store our car in. My plan is to get in here and probably work from this corner out. The lines for the diesel boiler are just there. Also, there was a power supply and a water supply. So it'd be nice to get that area uncovered so that stuff will be all accessible. There was a big plastic bucket actually over in this ruin as we were cleaning up, and the neighbor walked by and asked if she could take the plastic. We didn't quite understand why she was wanting the plastic, but she ended up using it to start that fire over there. And it worked pretty well actually because the ground and stuff was pretty wet. It's been raining quite a bit. It really got it going though. As you can see, we got those lines uncovered and this corner cleaned up. Now we're taking all these tile that we had thrown in this bag and tossing them in there. Slowly working on getting this area cleaned up. Going pretty good so far. I'm feeling pretty optimistic about getting that diesel boiler hooked back up. The tank needs some cleaning for sure. It's over there. We'll check it out in a sec. But I found the end of the line and I can definitely tell that on the end of it there was a fuel filter or something to that effect. So I'll have to find that and get that all going again. Holy crap, this tree is a pain in the booty. This thing is pretty much free, except this big chunk of it has grown under the wall, and the wall's the only thing holding it in place. So I think I'm going to try to knock just a part of it down, which inevitably most of it's probably going to come down. The reason I want to leave a piece of it is I would like to have a little cubby where I can stash that fuel tank, and then possibly just build something over the top of it and put a door on it so I can secure it. Man, the homie got the fire going good now. It's got the little makeshift gate here too. She put a big piece of plastic over the whole thing so it's just dripping onto the fire as it melts and just fueling it all the way across. Alright, as you can see, we got it. I did bust past there and then it just literally pulled right out. So that was really good. We decided we're just going to knock this down because if we leave this up and then we use up, we fill up the rest of our property and we don't get another container, then we're just left with this little tiny pile of bricks that we'll have to get rid of. So we decided we're going to get rid of it now. And I'm pretty sure you can just do that. So I got this space cleared out about as much as I need it for this certain project, which is getting that gas oil heater going, basically a diesel heater. This is where we're at. So we found this at the end of the supply line, which is great. You see there, it's got an arrow for in and out. So I believe this is the return from the heater itself. And then this is to the furnace. If I flip this over, you can see, maybe you can see, the line that's in my hand, the return, it has just a big hole, so it just drops back into the tank. And then these two pickup lines are for to the furnace itself. I'm not sure what this is, just some type of auxiliary. And then I believe this is some type of pressure release. If I pull up on that, it'll open up the bottom of this a bit. I'll go over here and show you the tank and show you how I think we figured out how it's all going to work. So real quick, I'll show you this. These are the lines we pulled out. They run about the length of the tank, so they should go basically all the way to the bottom. This, I believe, is a weight that holds them both down. Unfortunately, I broke this when I tipped the tank upside down to get it out, and it snapped this piece off, which would have been the nipple that this larger diameter hose goes on. Then as you can see, there's a smaller diameter, and that one would go there. And those those correlate with the two inlet tubes that were on the bottom of that valve I just showed you. So we got the tank on its side. As you can see, it's pretty dirty in there. My plan is to go get some regular gasoline to clean out the inside of this bad boy. And then here's the 4 top caps. As you can see, one is a vent, so that just allows the tank to breathe. This one was a cap. This one covered this, which I believe is the fill spout. And then this is the cap that goes with the valve. I'm assuming it's some type of pressure release valve that also houses the pickup and return lines. So we've got it fairly figured out. We just got to go figure out who has those parts and then put it all back together and clean the tank. And then I want to clean the furnace itself, so that's a whole other thing. Quick update. Rachel's out here kicking booty, getting crap in her eyes apparently.
Stuff in my eye.
We've gotten this pretty much all cleared out, minus the vegetation that's growing into the actual adobe. These plants took root into the adobe. As you can see there, the upper layer is adobe. There's a bit of timber work in there too. These are actually, I believe, nailed into a large beam that goes across here, so I can just absolutely not get these guys to budge out of here. But once we got this all cleared, there's quite a bit of room in here. Plenty of room for activities. And I'll go in here real quick and show you the update on the gas tank, because we're trying to get that gas tank there and reconnected. So we got the tank scrubbed on the outside pretty good. What I've done is put some gasoline in there, as you can see, and I actually got that whole bottom to scrub clean. So now I've got that waxy stuff soaking a bit. The bottom was like tarry old diesel fuel, and this is all like the waxes from the fuel, I'm assuming. So I'm going to work at that next. We've got our pan cleaned up in our tank over here. We did slosh this tank around for several days with, I just put some regular petrol and some nails and some rocks in here, and got a lot of the waxes and the crud that was stuck to the side off. Obviously there's quite a bit left. I'm hoping that putting the fuel in the tank and filling it all the way up will get the stuff to reanimate and slide down to the bottom, and after, you know, a certain amount of time, I'll just drain it and clean that bottom of that tank out, and hopefully not have too much issues clogging my filters. We've got our lines hooked up. We've got our tank in place in our basin there. Rachel and I whipped this up the other day. I'm not sure how necessary it is. I figured people like to take from you if you give them an opportunity, so I built this thing to try to keep people from getting in here to steal my gas and stuff. I think I made it tight enough that people can't get those caps off and siphon this stuff. I'm going to put a big heavy-duty tarp around it as well, which I'm actually going to do now. But before I put that tarp on there, I wanted to show you, got that all hooked up. You can see actually from here the new siphon kit, I believe is what it was called, the siphon kit. So that's the to and from lines. So that's all hooked up. Gonna get some better insulation because it gets pretty cold here, so I know this fluid and these lines will have some issues flowing. So I'm gonna put a better foam type insulation on there. But let's get it wrapped up. So the efforts weren't in vain. We were able to get this small diesel boiler that we have going after we got that fuel supply hooked up. It took a little bit. I had to basically clean out the burner itself and work on the system a little. These pumps were actually seized. I had to unseize those, mess with the burner and the jet and everything in there, prime the system and get it all going. But we now have hot water at the faucet in the shower, and as you can see, you can switch it into winter mode, and then that heats our radiators. So we now have hot water and heat. Been busy out here the last couple of days cleaning up the rest of this ruin here. If you remember, there was a bunch of trees growing in the top of that wall there. We had some success getting it down. It toppled over into the neighbor's yard a bit. As you can see, there's quite a bit of mess of roots and rocks that have fallen over to this yard, so we're just slowly cleaning up that area. I'll walk around over there so you can see how it kind of just all toppled over in a big mass of roots. Unfortunately, it looks like a lot of this is going to end up having to come down, period, because it's pretty lean to one side, and I wouldn't imagine it's a very structurally stable. So if you can see, that's just a big mass of roots, like a mat of roots that dug into the concrete. I believe they had concreted this outside to help stabilize it, which was actually bad, because the same thing happened on this side in those stones, but I was able to just pull it away in like a sheet. But on this side, it really dug into the concrete. So in tearing all this down, it kind of just pulled the rocks that were mixed in with the concrete and just toppled over here. But we're getting it slowly cleaned up, no worries. Little update, we did some adulting and picked up this bad boy right here, which allowed us to take all of the wood that was piled there and cut it up and neatly stack it over here, which is great because we have so much wood that we need to cut over there that this is really going to help us out. And we got that for like $100. It was on sale, and I don't even care if it breaks after several months. It was already worth the investment. So here's where we stood on the heating of the house. We got all that hooked up. I may have showed that before, but I've got that all wrapped in a tarp and locked up. And then we actually rebuilt this little section here the best we could, just so there wasn't a big void there. We actually did the same thing on the other side. So it looks pretty good, nice and even for now. So pretty neat. As you can see, we've got this huge pile. So again, that chainsaw is really going to help us out. We'll cut that down and just burn all this vegetation. These are actually large mats of ivy that were on that wall. See, as you can see, this is just a huge layer that I actually cut away in a big section that was growing on that brick over there on this back side, actually. So that was pretty neat. So yeah, for now, I think we'll call it a wrap on this video. Getting a little long, I think. Thanks for coming along.